Hello and welcome to my quiz again. This is Hollins Mill quiz number 3, and it's much the same as other quizzes that you've maybe watched. Hopefully you have. It's got a connection in the 50 questions and the answers of the 50 questions, should I say, and there are 22 of the answers, which will give you 9 things which are connected, and I have to say I've taken a liberty with a couple of spellings, but it doesn't make any difference to the pronunciation of the words. After this regular quiz, I'm going to carry straight on with a music quiz. Not playing any music. All the questions will be about #1 records in the United Kingdom from the start of the first official chart up to more or less the present day. So let's get going. Question 1. Which American TV series, which ran from 1971 to 1973, originally starring Pete Duell and Ben Murphy, was inspired by the film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? Which American TV series, which ran from 1971 to 1973, originally starring Pete Duell and Ben Murphy, was inspired by the film Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid? And question 2. Randy Crawford was the guest vocalist on which 1979 single by the Crusaders? Randy Crawford was the guest vocalist on which 1979 single by the Crusaders? And another music question. In terms of popular music, what do John Wayne, Robert De Niro, Betty Davis, and Al Capone all have in common? In terms of popular music songs, what do John Wayne, Robert De Niro, Betty Davis or Bette Davis, and Al Capone have in common? Question 4. Which 1964 song by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas was covered in 1985 by David Bowie and Mick Jagger? Which 1964 song by Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, or Martha and the Vandellas, I think she was just then, was covered in 1985 by David Bowie and Mick Jagger? Question 5. After their first 2 eponymous albums, which band released Sheer Heart Attack in 1974? After their first 2 eponymous or self-titled albums, which band released Sheer Heart Attack in 1974? Question 6. The Iditarod, I-D-I-T-A-R-O-D, the Iditarod, a race in March each year, runs from Anchorage to Nome. It is for what type of transport or vehicle? The Iditarod, a race in March each year, which runs from Anchorage to Nome, is for what type of transport or vehicle? Question 7. Which region in northeast France shares its name with an island in the Inner Hebrides? Which region of northeast France shares its name with an island in the Inner Hebrides? And question 8, a sports question. In terms of Rugby League's Lance Todd Trophy, the trophy presented for the best player in the Rugby League Challenge Cup final, what record do Mark Sneyd and Paul Wellens hold? In terms of Rugby League's Lance Todd Trophy, what record do Mark Sneyd, who played for Hull, and Paul Wellens, who played for St Helens, hold? Question 9. Which song by the Kinks is said to have been inspired by the romantic involvement of Terence Stamp and Julie Christie? Their Christian names are mentioned in the song. Which song by the Kinks is said to have been inspired by the romantic involvement of the actors Terence Stamp and Julie Christie? Their Christian names are mentioned in the song. And 10, the anthemic "You'll Never Walk Alone" comes from which musical? The anthemic "You'll Never Walk Alone" comes from which musical? 11, in the film From Russia with Love, which actor who is planning to kill Bond says the line, "You may know the right wines, but you're the one on your knees"? In the film From Russia with Love, which actor who is planning to kill Bond says the line, "You may know the right wines, but you're the one on your knees"? I want the name of the actor, not the character. And another film question, which is question 12. The Wrecking Crew, The Ambushers, Murderers Row, and The Silencers were 4 films starring Dean Martin as which secret agent? The Wrecking Crew, The Ambushers, Murderers Row, and The Silencers are 4 films starring Dean Martin as which secret agent? 13. Which branch of mathematics takes its name from the Arabic for reunion of broken parts? Which branch of mathematics takes its name from the Arabic for reunion of broken parts? And question 14. Which 1993 film starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Emma Thompson tells the story of the wrongfully accused Guildford Four? Which 1993 film starring Daniel Day-Lewis and Emma Thompson, I think also Pete Postlethwaite's in it, tells the story of the wrongly accused Guildford Four? And 15, which US fantasy drama series is based upon George R.R. Martin's novels The Song of Ice and Fire? Which US fantasy drama series, which has become a worldwide phenomenon, is based upon George R.R. Martin's novels A Song of Ice and Fire? Question 16. In Christianity, which is the highest angelic order? They have 6 wings and are part of the so-called first sphere. In Christianity, which is the highest angelic order, they have 6 wings and are part of the first sphere. 17. There is 1 point each for the 8 American states which begin with the letter M. There are 8 American states which begin with the letter M. 1 point for each. So you have 8 points there to win. 18. With 106. Which group holds the record for the most appearances on BBC's Top of the Pops? Question 18. With 106, which group holds the record for the most appearances on Top of the Pops? And question 19. In 1928, Emil Jannings, Emil is spelled E-M-I-L, Jannings, J-A-N-N-I-N-G-S, became the first recipient of which award? In 1928, there's a bit of a clue there, Emil Jannings became the first recipient of which award? And question 20. In which superhero film of 1978 does Margot Kidder say to Christopher Reeve, "You've got me, who's got you?" In which superhero film of 1978 does Margot Kidder say to Christopher Reeve, "You've got me, who's got you?" That brings us on to question 21. This is a military question. What rank do many American police forces give to their lowest officers, especially highway patrollers in the highway patrol? It's a term used in many military forms, but it's also a rank of American police officers which is given to the lowest officers, especially in the highway patrol. And question 22. Who wrote the epic poem in 14 volumes, The Prelude, published unfinished in 1850, a few months after its writer's death? Who wrote the epic poem in 14 volumes, The Prelude, published unfinished in 1850, a few months after its writer's death? Another film question. In the 1966 Western film, which three actors play the good, the bad, and the ugly? A point for each of the three actors in the 1966 Western film, the good, the bad, and the ugly. 24. Spanish racing driver and a Spanish footballer, Alonso and Torres, share which given name? Spanish racing driver and Spanish footballer, Alonso and Torres, share which given name? And 25. What is the name of the British photographer famed for his war work, especially in Vietnam? What is the name of the British photographer who is famed for his war work, not specifically his war work, took many other famous photographs, but some remarkable photographs taken during the Vietnam War? Who is he? 25, so that's halfway through the questions, which means I can have a drink. Cheers. So 26, which city is mentioned in song titles recorded by Tony Bennett and Scott McKenzie and the Flower Pot Men? Which city is mentioned in song titles recorded by Tony Bennett, Scott McKenzie, and the Flower Pot Men? And 27. Two battles in the Wars of the Roses took place in 1455 and 1461, in or which town in Herefordshire, known to the Romans as Verulamium. Two battles in the Wars of the Roses took place in 1455 and 1461, in or near which town in Herefordshire, known to the Romans as Verulamium. '28. What is the title of the single by the French electronic musician Jean-Michel Jarre, taken from his third album with the same title? What is the title of the single by the French electronic musician Jean-Michel Jarre, taken from his third album with the same title? The single was very, very popular. 29. Who directed the epic 1998 war film Saving Private Ryan? Who directed the epic 1998 war film Saving Private Ryan? Question 30. What title did Ambrose Bierce, that's Ambrose Bierse, give to his reference work first published in its complete form in 1911? It had a subtitle, The Cynic's Word Book. What title did Ambrose Bierce give to his reference work first published in its complete form in 1911? It had a subtitle, The Cynic's Word Book. '31. Written and originally performed by David McWilliams, Days of Pearly Spencer was covered with an extra verse written by him, not David McWilliams, written by which English singer-songwriter? So who covered the original Days of Pearly Spencer with an added extra verse written by himself? '32. When in the classic sketch with Morecambe and Wives, Andrew Preview agreed to conduct Eric's Grieg. He says he will go and get his baton. Where is it? In the classic Morecambe and Wives sketch, Andrew Preview, aka Andre Previn, agreed to conduct Eric's Grieg. He says he will go and get his baton, or baton, as he said. From where? Where was his baton? And 33. Which physical feature, special feature, forms part of the nickname of the American states Iowa and Ohio? Both the nicknames of those two states, Iowa and Ohio, both have the same facial feature in their nicknames. And 34. In which film of 1951, which is based upon a John Wyndham novel, do many of the world's population become blind after a meteor shower? In which film of 1951, which is based upon a John Wyndham novel, do many of the world's population become blind after watching a meteor shower? And 35. What do the letters, now in common use, B, C, E stand for? What do the letters BCE stand for? And 36, which online video platform was founded in 2005 by 3 former PayPal employees? Which online video platform was founded in 2005 by 3 former PayPal employees? And 37, which type of photographic equipment, a very early type of photographic equipment, takes its name from the Latin for dark chamber? Which type of photographic equipment takes its name from the Latin for dark chamber? And 38, in Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, who played the character Mr. Brown? All the characters, or the major criminal characters, had colours as aliases. Who was Mr. Brown? 39, who wrote the poem The Hollow Men? Who wrote the poem The Hollow Men? And 40, who is the ancient Greek god of wealth, luck, fertility, animal husbandry, and travel, among other things? But his main responsibilities were wealth, luck, fertility, animal husbandry, and travel. And question 41. At the 27th Oscar ceremony, history was made when 3 actors, Lee J. Cobb, Carl Malden, and Rod Steiger, were all nominated as Best Supporting Actor in the same film. Only ever been done once. Which was the film? At the 27th Oscar ceremony, history was made when 3 actors, Lee J. Cobb, Carl Malden, and Rod Steiger, were all nominated as Best Supporting Actor in the same film. Which film? And 42, Robinson was the maiden name of which former American First Lady? Robinson was the maiden name of which former American First Lady? And if you were listening to Popmaster this morning, you may know the answer to this one. Lulu featured on the 1993 song Relight My Fire. Which group? Lulu featured on the 1993 song Relight My Fire with which song? Question 44. What was the name of the oil ground off the coast of Brittany in 1978, causing an environmental disaster? What is the name of the oil tanker which ran aground off the coast of Brittany in 1978, causing an environmental disaster? 45. Nigel Lawson, John Major, and Norman Lamont have all held which government cabinet post? Nigel Lawson, John Major, and Norman Lamont have all held which cabinet post? "46. Which song by Matt Monro accompanies the opening scenes of the 1969 film The Italian Job?" Which song, sung in the film by Matt Monro, accompanies the opening scenes of the 1969 film The Italian Job? "47. Which country's flag is a green, white, and red vertical tricolour with an Aztec-based coat of arms on the central white stripe?" Which country's flag is a green, white, and red vertical tricolour with an Aztec-based coat of arms on the central white stripe? "48. The failed World War II operation to create a salient into German territory, Market Garden, was the brainchild of which high-ranking officer? The failed World War II operation to create a salient into German territory, Market Garden, was the brainchild of which high-ranking officer? It's also the subject of a famous war film. And 49. Which group reached number 3 in the UK singles chart in 1966 with the song Monday, Monday? Which group reached number 3 in the UK singles chart in 1966 with the song Monday, Monday? And the final question, which American actress, the daughter of Maureen O'Sullivan, was married to Frank Sinatra and the aforementioned Andre Previn? Which American actress, the daughter of Maureen O'Sullivan, was married to Frank Sinatra and the aforementioned Andrew Preview? Okay, that's the end of that particular quiz. So I'll have your answers. I used to pause at this stage to give you time to formulate your answers, but I don't need to because you can just pause me and bring me back whenever you wish. Okay, the American TV series was Alias Smith and Jones. Randy Crawford was guest vocalist on Street Life. The people mentioned in song appear in song titles: John Wayne's Big Leggy, Robert De Niro's Waiting, Betty Davis' Eyes, and Al Capone by Prince Buster. Song covered by David Bowie and Mick Jagger was Dancing in the Street, and Sheer Heart Attack was released by Queen. The Iditarod is a race for dog sleds, and the region of France which shares its name with an island in the Hebrides is Jura. And the record held by Mark Sneed and Paul Hollins is they have won the Lansdowne Trophy 2 years running. And the song, which was inspired by Terence Stamp, Terry and Julie, Waterloo Sunset, You'll Never Walk Alone, comes from Carousel. And one of my favourite lines in the Bond film was spoken by the actor Robert Shaw. The secret agent, played by Dean Martin, was Matt Helm. And the branch of mathematics, the reunion of broken parts, is algebra. The film telling the story of the Guildford Four is In the Name of the Father. And the fantasy drama based upon Song of Ice and Fire is Game of Thrones. The highest order of angels are seraphims or seraphs. And the 8 American states that begin with the letter M: Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana. The band which have appeared most times on top of the pops with 106 is Status Quo. And Emil Jannings was the first recipient of the Best Actor Oscar. And the hero, played by Christopher Reeve, was Superman. The rank given to American police force to the lowest officers on the highway patrol is Trooper. And the poem The Prelude was written by William Wordsworth. And the 3 actors, the eponymous The Good, the Bad and the Ugly, Clint Eastwood, Lee Van Cleef and Eli Wallach. The forename of Alonzo and Torres, Fernando. And the photographer gained much fame for his war work in Vietnam, Don McCullen. And the city mentioned in the songs by Tony Bennett, Scott McKenzie and the Flower Pot Men is San Francisco. And the battles in the Wars of the Roses took place near St. Albans. The song, or the actual instrumental, it was by Jean-Michel Jarre, is Oxygen. And if you put part 4, well done. But Oxygen will get you the point. And Saving Private Ryan was directed by Steven Spielberg. Perhaps Ambrose Bierce's most famous work is The Devil's Dictionary. And the song The Days of Pearly Spencer was covered by Mark Armand. And when Andrew Preview agreed to go and fetch his baton, it was in Chicago. The I is the part of the nickname, the Hawkeye and the Buckeye states of nicknames of Iowa and Ohio. And the film, based upon the novel by John Wyndham, is The Day of the Triffids. And BCE, using it now, stands for Before the Common Era. The online video platform is YouTube, and the photographic equipment takes its name from the Latin for dark chamber is camera obscura. In Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs, Mr. Brown is played by Quentin Tarantino. The Hollow Men is written by T.S. Eliot, and the ancient Greek god of wealth, love, fertility, etc. is Hermes. The film in which the 3 actors were nominated is On the Waterfront, and Robinson is the maiden name of Michelle Obama. Take That are the band with which Lulu featured in the song Relight My Fire. And the tanker which went aground off the coast of Brittany was the Omoko Cadiz. Nigel Lawson, John Major and Norman Lamont have all been transferred to the Exchequer. The song by Matt Monro was On Days Like These. And the country's flag, green, white and red tricolour, is Mexico. And the failed operation Market Garden was the brainchild of Bernard Montgomery, Field Marshal Bernard Law Montgomery. And the group which reached number 3 in the charts with the song Monday Monday, the Mamas and Papas, and the actress married once to Frank Sinatra and to Andre Previn, Mia Farrow. The connection 4 and 5, Dancing Queen, 9, Waterloo. 14 and 15, the name of the game. 20 and 21, Super Trooper, and that was one of the spelling liberties I took. 24, Fernando. 27, 28 and 29, SOS. 34, 35, 36 and 37, The Day Before You Came. 43, 44, 45, 46 and 47, Take a Chance on Me. And 49 and 50, Mama, the other spelling, and Mia. They're all ABBA songs. So I do hope you've enjoyed that. And if you don't mind, if you wish, you can carry on with the second part of the quiz. Is going to be a music quiz. And as I said, it's not music being played. I have no facility for playing that. All the questions are basically about number one records from the inception of the chart up to more or less the present day. So there'll be questions about every decade. So if you wish, please carry on. If not, pick me up later. But your first question, the first official number one was Here in My Heart. It spent 9 weeks at the top in 1952. Who was the singer? Question 2. I'm just going to go through these quickly. You can, as I say, you can catch them up, so I won't repeat them. In 1954, which singer and actress topped the chart with the song Secret Love? Also, in 1954, the aunt of a very famous Hollywood actor had a number one with the song This Old House. Who is she? In 1956, which singer and actor, a member of Sinatra's so-called Rat Pack, was at number one for 4 weeks with Memories Are Made of This? This is question 5. Which duo was at number one for 7 weeks with the song All I Have to Do Is Dream in 1958? 6. Which song gave Cliff Richard his first number one single in 1959? Excuse me, thirsty. Question 7. It's Now or Never was the first number one of the 60s for which singer? Question 8. Which instrumental was at number one for 5 weeks in 1962 for the Tornadoes? Question 9. In May 1965, according to the title of his song, who was King of the Road? Excuse me. Question 10. In August 1966, the Beatles took a double A side to number one. 1 point for each song. And question 11. Also in 1966, which song gave Tamala Motown its first UK number one single? Question 12. Which husband and wife duo had a number one with Cinderella Rockefeller in February 1968? 13. The Christmas number one of 1968 was Lily the Pink by which group? Question 14. In 1970, Which American actor was number one with Wandering Star? And question 15, also from 1970. What was the name of the England World Cup theme song? And 16, according to Benny Hill's number one in December 1971, who is the fastest milkman in the West? 17, the Simon Park Orchestra had a number one in 1973 with Eye Level. It was the theme of which TV detective series? 18, who in September 1974 was Kung Fu Fighting? 19, which was the first number one in 1979 by the American group Village People? Question 20. In 1980, St. Winifred's School Choir sang about who or whom? 21. Who in March of 1981 was number one with his version of This Old House? 22, which was the first number one for Frankie Goes to Hollywood in January 1984. 23, what is the title of the USA for Africa's charity symbol of April 1985? In 1986, who sang Rock Me Amadeus? And 25, in April 1987, which Beatles song went to number one for the charity single Ferry Aid? 26, Madonna had 6 number ones in the 80s, which was her last of March 1989. 27, how many record-breaking weeks did Bryan Adams spend at number one with I Do It For You? 28, which actor was at number one in July 1992 with Ain't No Doubt? 29, who had number ones with Oh Carolina in 1993 and Boombastic in 1995, respectively. Question 30. In September 1997, which group said, "The drugs don't work"? And 31, who was at number one in January 1999 with Praise You? 32, according to the Australian film director Baz Luhrmann, everybody is free to do what? 33, the real Slim Shady was the first number one for which American rapper? 34, which Spice Girl was chart-topping with her version of It's Raining Men. '35. Which group featured Elton John on their number one of December 2002? '36. Which group was at number one in July 2002 with Dry Your Eyes? '37. Which song gave the Sugar Babes their first number one in October 2005? Question 38. In September 2006, who said they did not feel like dancing? '39. Which group had their first number one in March 2007 with Ruby? Question 40. Mercy was the first number one single for which Welsh singer? Question 41. I think this song had a totally different title on the LP, or on different versions. Which song did CeeLo Green take to number one in October 2010? '42. Who had her first number one in February 2000 and I think it was 10, with the song Someone Like You? '43. Which all-girl group had a Christmas number one in 2011 with Cannonball? '44. Who was at number one in October 2012 with Gangnam Style? '45. In October 2014, what did Meghan Trainor say it was all about? And '46. Which Simon and Garfunkel song did Artists for Grenfell take to number one in June of 2017? '47. In November 2018, Bradley Cooper duetted with whom on the record Shallow? '48. Which two very successful artists, one English, one Canadian, duetted on the 2019 number one, I Don't Care? Which two artists, one English, one Canadian, duetted on the 2019 number one, I Don't Care? '49. The final number one of 2019 by Lad Baby. What was the song? The final number one of 2019 was by Lad Baby. What was the song? And the final question. In February 2020, Billie Eilish was number one with which song? The latest James Bond theme. Okay, I will go through the answers. Al Martino was the singer of the first official number one, Here in My Heart. Doris Day sang the song Secret Love. Rosemary Clooney had the first hit with This Old House. Dean Martin sang Memories Are Made of This. The Everly Brothers sang All I Have to Do Is Dream. Cliff Richard's first number one was Living Doll. And It's Now or Never was the first number one of the 60s for Elvis Presley. Instrumental for the Tornadoes, Telstar. And the King of the Road was Roger Miller. The two songs on the Beatles' A-side, Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby. And give yourself a point for each if you wish. And the first number one for Tower Motown label was Reach Out, I'll Be There. Four tops. The husband and wife duo were Esther and Abby O'Farim. And the Christmas number one of 68 was By the Scaffold. The American actor who had a hit with Wandering Star, Lee Marvin. The 1970 World Cup theme, Back Home. Ernie was the fastest milkman, or is the fastest milkman probably still in the West. And Eye Level was the theme from the TV detective series Roundabout. Kung Fu Fighting was by Carl Douglas. The Village People's first hit was YMCA. St. Winifred's Choir sang about Grandma. There's nobody quite like Grandma. And Shakin' Stevens had a number one with his version of This Old House. Frankie Goes to Hollywood's first number one was Relax. And USA for Africa's charity single was We Are the World. Falco recorded the song Rock Me Amadeus. And the Beatles song went to number one for Ferry Aid was Let It Be. Madonna's last hit of the 80s in 89 was Like a Prayer. And Bryan Adams spent an amazing 16 weeks at number one. The actor who sang Ain't No Doubt, Jimmy Nail, and Oh Carolina and Boombastic were hits for Shaggy. The Verve said the drugs don't work. And Praise You was a hit for Fatboy Slim, aka Norman Cook. And Baz Luhrmann said everyone is free to wear sunscreen. Real Slim Shady was the first hit for Eminem. And Jerry Halliwell had her first number one with It's Raining Men. And the group which featured Elton John, and their number one was Blue. The Streets had number one in July 2002 with Dry Your Eyes. And the Sugar Babes' first number one was Push the Button. Scissor Sisters Didn't Feel Like Dancing. And the Kaiser Chiefs had their hit with number one in 2007 with Ruby, the Kaiser Chiefs. Mercy was the first number one for Duffy. And CeeLo Green, the song was somewhat toned down, I think, to Forget You. And Adele had her first hit with Someone Like You. The all-girl group at a Christmas number one in 2011 with Cannonball Little Mix. And Gangnam Style was PSY. And Meghan Trainor said it was all about that bass. And the Simon and Garfunkel song for Grenfell was Bridge Over Troubled Water. Bradley Cooper duetted with Lady Gaga. The two artists who duetted on I Don't Care, and a point for each again if you wish, Ed Sheeran and Justin Bieber. And the final number one of 2019 was I Love Sausage Rolls. And the last question, Billie Eilish, was the theme from the latest Bond film, No Time to Die. I hope you've enjoyed both quizzes, and I should hopefully